Okay, we are live. Good morning, good morning. And I think that other people will be joining us. So it'll be great to get this going. We're doing a different format this morning. It's more working our way quickly through a number of pages and also just kind of figuring out ways of applying this and adapting this. Okay, so just to begin, Pat, would you mind praying for us that the morning will be educational and helpful for us, equipping?
All right. Father, we just thank you so much for this time together, Lord, and for the preparation that Dee Dee put into this. It's been hours and hours and years, probably. And so, Father, we're just thankful for the information that we'll get today, Father. And we just pray that it would be a blessing to all those that are with us today and that we'll hear later on the recording. And Father, that we would walk more and more in the peace of Christ each and every day and draw closer to you. And that's our goal, Father, to glorify you and to walk in your presence, Lord. So we just give you this time and pray for wisdom for Dee Dee as she leads us today. And it's in Jesus' name that we pray. Amen.
Amen. Amen. So this topic is on helping other people to collect themselves, not just focusing on helping ourselves to collect ourselves, but to help somebody else. And so the first question that I had you guys do, since we don't have any total visitors, I think I'll not do a catch-up kind of deal. Well, Cecilia is new. Who else is new? Yes. Okay, I think, so let me just do a share screen and let me see if I can get this here. Okay, and then I'm going to put everybody on. Okay, just so that, okay, so do you see this screen, the title thing of this workshop? I don't have many slides, but I'm going to just start us out with this. Okay, so just as a catch up, I want to remind everybody of what our group has been learning thus far. Okay, and this diagram is kind of a master diagram showing a number of things. So if you see, let me see my arrow. Do you see that there are these numbers on the left side? Okay. And those are kind of what our mood is or our level of intensity of whatever our emotions are. And there are three kind of sections in this. The middle section that has the white arrow connecting it is kind of where everything is in normal and we are able to handle whatever's thrown at us without freaking out. Okay, we're able to, even if there's a problem that comes up, it's like no big deal problem and we can work on it without either flipping up, revving up into fight or flight, where our intense urge is to either run or to fight, or on the other hand, if something overwhelms us and our urge is to just shut down because it's like, it's too much for me, it's too much for me. Okay, that kind of thing. Okay, so, and we can be at any place on this numbers at the far left, depending on what the situation is. So our goal has been all this time is to learn how to recognize when we have slipped up into the pink area or down into the blue area. And when we have learned to kind of check in with ourselves to figure out the cues that there are for shutting down or for revving up. And so pop quiz to people who have been coming, anybody just answer, what are some of the cues that we have learned for ourselves of that we are revving up into fight or flight?
Heart
The
rate,
heart rate will be what?
faster,
Faster. Good, great. Another thing,
start sweating, get all hot.
hot, okay. Intensifies everything, okay.
Right.
What will we be feeling, or what will be our emotions when we rev up?
Anxiety.
Anxiety. Good. Call it out.
Rapid thinking, rapid
Rapid.
thought.
Yes, yes. We'll kind of go into a loop of anxiety or worry or obsessing about something, right? Okay. And this might include angry feelings of
Right.
anger. Okay. All right. What are some of the symptoms that we've learned to notice if we are shutting down?
We're kind of lethargic.
Yes.
Well, there's-
Yes. What else? What is the heart rate when we're shutting down?
It's slower, and you want to pull away, you don't want to socialize.
Yes, don't want to socialize. Yes. We feel like everything is closing in on us. Okay. So what we have learned is to notice the symptoms of either revving up or shutting down. And we have learned a couple of drills that will help pull us back into the green area, which is the good area. So stand down drill will, if we rev up, stand down drill within about 3 minutes can help us to, pull ourselves out of being freaked out. And grounding drill helps us to stabilize and kind of reconnect with basic so that we feel grounded, and that pulls us back into the green area where we can deal with what's going on. Does that make sense?
Yes.
Okay, so when we are doing this, okay, so now let me figure out, whoop. Okay, let me pull out, I want to stop. This is going to be my cool diagram. Maribel, Barbara, happy to see you. Yes, is Alicia with you, Barbara?
Yeah.
Oh,
Okay, Alicia and Barbara,
We miss you, Barbara.
yes, and Maribel.
Sorry, I wake up late. You see, still in my
Oh, don't worry about it. Nobody can tell. It looks like it's a fashion forward thing.
Barbara,
Okay, all
Barbara,
right.
you have, look, there's your, right over here where the table is, where I'm
That's
pointing.
just for you.
That was for you and your mom.
Okay, okay, all right. Great to
welcome.
see you, Maribel. All right,
Thank you.
Okay.
God bless you, girls.
all right. So this topic is to take all that we have learned to do for ourselves and to do it for somebody else. When we are kind of tuned in, and what is it that tunes us in? Pilot, okay? So we step back up into pilot, and kind of, instead of being in the middle of our freak out of whatever kind, we step up into pilot, and pilot will assess what's going on in us, so we decide what to do about it. Okay, so this whole topic, oh, and there's Maureen. So great to see you.
Morning.
Good morning, Maureen. Okay, so now instead of doing that just for ourselves, how many of you have already noticed when somebody else is having some of the signs of either flipping into fight or flight or dropping into freeze mode? How many of you have noticed somebody else? Yeah?
Yeah.
Yeah, it kind of tunes you, doesn't it? So that you can hear, so that you can notice what's going on. I don't want long story, but somebody give a story about a time when you noticed somebody else that needed to calm down or to get grounded? Just quick.
Nonstop talking. It's not just venting. It's over and over and over and over and over. again.
Yes, okay. Yes, anybody else?
With my daughter in regard to her stressful job.
Yes, okay. So you can tell when she starts flipping into something and that, oh, it would be nice if she would do the stand down kind of a thing. Maribel, you've had recent experience with this. Tell me about that.
Well, I have a that experience with my daughter when she was to the hospital with the
Yes.
babies. And I tell her, you need to calm down and breathe. And I showed the drills. And I
Mhm.
told her, and she was very scared because she was to lose the baby. And I said, breathe with me, 1, 2, 3. And when she started, I told her, talk about Jesus. Tell Jesus have the control of your life. And the second time that she have the same one, she have a control. She called me, Mom, can you come in? Because you do the drill until I get there. And she
Okay.
control everything. That was amazing because you said, yes, because I called the Lord and the Lord stayed with me and I come down, tell her husband, go for the car. My mom is on the way and I can ready for go to the hospital.
Yeah,
And that was amazing.
isn't
when
that cool?
Yes.
Love
because the
that,
Lord is
love
in
that.
control of
Yeah.
us.
Isn't that cool when you have something where you have a tool so that you can do something and you know what to do? So what we're doing today is just to fine tune that. So we've kind of been doing page 157. Now we're going to switch. Why does jump to stepping back into pilot guard our own heart?
Yeah.
On that, we were saying 3 reasons why stepping back into pilot. So just like popcorn, what are some good reasons why when we step back into pilot, that helps the situation?
Yes.
You can see clearly what's going on, you know?
Exactly. That's really good. Another reason.
It doesn't trigger you.
Explain that.
Well, sometimes if we don't step back and use our pilot to see and check ourselves out, then we can join that person in
Yes.
whatever they're doing. And
Yes,
so now it's like the lifeguard.
yes,
Then we'll both drown.
yes.
Mhm.
It is very easy for one panicked person to make everybody panicked,
Mhm.
Yes.
okay? Especially like in a job situation, you know, or in a family, or if you stop by the side of the road to help people who just had an accident. One panicked person can make everybody panic, but one calm person can also have great power to help other people calm down just by you being calm. Okay, great. Were there any others? The defined role. Did you like that when you were looking in the book? That being pilot to this person is a defined role. Did that make sense to you?
Yeah.
Yes,
because-
Barbara.
I have one little short story to share with you. It's
Yes.
so funny. In the previous job that I was a manager. I was the office manager, and I have my own private room, and outside was the all open environment, the operations. And there was an earthquake. It started to shake in the
Yeah.
windows of my. And I, at that time, I didn't know Jesus. So
Yeah.
so you have to bear with me on that. So I supposed to be the manager to calm down everybody. No, I was the first one to get. It's shaking. It's an earthquake. And so I was
Yeah.
the one who caused the whole turmoil over there.
Yeah. Right after
So
an earthquake,
embarrassing, but I didn't care
Yeah.
at that time.
right after an earthquake is a really bad timing thing to do grounding, isn't it?
Yeah.
You know, no, we don't want to do grounding right after an earthquake.
Just breathe,
Huh?
just breathe.
Just breathe, yeah. Okay, all right. So now the next section, 59, 59, 60 to 62 is talking about how we step into pilot when we're doing it on somebody else's behalf. We do it for ourselves, you know, just more of an automatic kind of thing. And a lot of times we're not really conscious of what we're doing to step back into pilot for ourselves, but to step into pilot for somebody else needs to be, there's a little bit of a tweak to the way that we do that for somebody else. Okay, so let's go through those. How are we doing on time? I've got a timer that's going to go off at 10:55 when we have our break. Okay,
Sounds good.
all right. So the first part of it is to get calm. You know, just kind of flip yourself into a calm state. But we're doing it that in not just internally. What are some of the external things that we do to help people see that we are calm?
Well, definitely your posture, your facial expressions, your whatever, you know, just that you're appearing calm and in control, you know.
Yes. And what would be
Soothing voice.
some of those things? Yes, exactly.
A soothing voice more than anything else, I think.
Soothing voice.
And I think
Um,
making eye contact,
Yeah.
definite eye contact with the person.
Yes, eye
know,
contact.
That you can really, that you're relating with them both ways, you know.
Yes.
You see
Yes.
their response and that they can see that you're okay with it, you know.
Yeah. Okay, good. So we're very conscious of our body posture.
Right.
So we don't do arms across, okay?
Right.
And we don't do anything, you know,
Right.
like this.
Oh, my.
Not
Right.
good. This is not good. Or if we're in fight mode, no, that's bad. This doesn't help anybody else to get into calm mode. Okay, so I find that relaxing my hands is really crucial. Okay, I'm instead of any kind of, you know, any kind of worry or anger will have me clenching my fists or tight, you know, like that, either that or like this. Calm hands and kind of open, you know, I mean, you know, just
Yeah.
holding them so that they're open it is calming. Okay, slow movements. All right, like if somebody is really freaked out, I don't rush over and invade their space. I may have calm movements. Okay, calm voice. Yes. Is it anything else? Oh, yes. Don't overwhelm them with your own reaction. Okay, we've decided that we're going to set aside our reaction and we are going to calm down for their benefit.
Yeah.
Okay, so even if it's crazy nuts going on, we've decided to focus on this person and to be calm on their behalf. Okay, make sense?
Yes, and just something very recent, it was with Anita and I, you know, when she called to tell me about her husband, you know, of course, my first thought was shock. Well, how could this
Yes.
be happening? And I started crying, you know.
Yeah.
And I said, here you are calling me to tell me, and I'm the one crying. She says, you know, actually that helps. You know,
Yeah.
I didn't get all upset. I didn't get, you know, all frustrated with it. But the fact that there was empathy
There.
with her feeling
Exactly.
that I was able then to compose myself. I'm starting to cry just thinking
Yes.
about what she first
Yes.
told me. I thought how unfair that this is, you know.
Yeah.
And then, of course, then we got right back onto, and then I told her a little bit about my story, just a little bit, you know,
Yeah.
and he says, you know how helpful that was. Just that you can understand that there is an issue going on, you know.
I love that. That's like a perfect example of that Bible verse that says to weep with those who weep,
Right.
isn't it? I
Yeah.
mean, that's totally appropriate. Enter into their pain. That is what we are doing with this whole thing, is we are choosing to deliberately step into this person's pain.
But I have to say something else too, with my situation, you know, when my husband, anyhow, when he passed, then people come in and then they're gonna start telling you all about their story. And that's exactly what you don't need to be doing. You don't need to do
Exactly.
that. You don't need to tell them all of that garbage. You
Yes.
know, so it's enough just to empathize with them, but you don't go and say, oh, but let me tell you about my problem.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
so we got to know where that line is.
Yes. Brian, did you ever see the Brian Regan, you know, the comic and his funny bit about I walked on the moon? Did you ever see that?
No.
Oh, you should Google Brian Regan, Regan. He's a comic and a clean comic. And he talks about people that are always wanting to jump in with their story, and
Yeah.
their story is worse than your story, you know, or more than your story. And anyway, it's a really funny bit. And
The
it's
other
called
thing-
I Walked on the Moon. Yeah, I think you'll like it. Okay, the next one is to assess.
All right, one thing more. I think that sometimes we tend, as believers, we tend to want to throw Bible verses at them. But I don't think the time, I think the timing is off, unless we can say, you know, we can not refer, I don't know. What do you think about that?
Absolutely. Well, it totally depends on the situation. And it depends on where they're at.
Right.
True.
If they are saying they are, you know, holding on to a verse, you know, I know that God is working all this together for good, then I just say, you know, you're absolutely right, you know, right on, and I'm here with you to help in whatever way. Then that's great. But if they didn't bring it up, empathy and entering into their pain is better, and keeping our head is better. We're just kind of wanting to see how to, you know, help them to collect themselves to deal with their situation. Okay, so assess. What are some of the specific things that we would assess about this person as part of our getting calm? I mean, as part of our, you know, flipping into pilot for them. This is on page 160. Okay.
You said to keep your eyes on them for cues.
Yes.
Where they're going or where they are.
Yes. And see the conversation as having, it starts here and then it goes here, and then we're hoping that it will calm down. Okay. All right. What else?
What they need, you said here, what they need right that moment. We have to assess what is it they need at that moment.
Yes. And another question that's a good one is best guess. What are they expecting from me? Okay. They may not be expecting me to be the one in charge. They may expecting me to be the one who just holds their hand or something. But so part of pilot is not assuming that we're going to jump in and be in charge, but we're looking to see what they see our role to be, and how can I be that for them? Okay. Let's see.
And you gave them options with the questions to see,
Yeah.
well, yeah.
Okay.
what they
Yes.
want, yeah.
Okay. So now let's move over to page 161 that talks about be curious, and the unique thing that we're doing with listening for somebody who is in a crisis situation, okay? So how do we express the feeling of being curious as pilot for them?
I think that, at least I know that, I mean, I'm preaching to the choir here. We so many times try to jump in. We think that we already know and we want to give them advice. We want to
Yes.
pull them out of their pain as fast as possible. It's like the child when he falls down, bumps his knee and he's crying, and we want to try to get it over with. I
Yes,
think that we just assume a lot of stuff. And the very first thing you said here, your very first sentence is actively listen to their story. We've got to
Yes.
learn to listen.
yes. Yeah, yes, good, okay,
But it's actively listening. It's able to draw them out, because if you're not listening really to what they're saying, they shut down. So you
yes,
want to help encourage them. I think talking in a certain is very cathartic. That they're
yes,
able to get those feelings out. So you have to encourage the talking, not necessarily dominate the conversation by any way, but draw them out to continue the talk, you know,
yes,
to get to their, like I think you said in there, that actually they come to their own conclusion then by talking.
yes, okay. Yes, I think this paragraph on 161, paragraph 2, I think is a good one for you to circle or to highlight. I've noticed from many times of sitting with someone in deep grief or reeling from outrageous injustice that if I let them just talk it out, even the rawest, wildest gush of words usually circles around to a natural conclusion without me overtly directing them.
Right.
And the next one, if they start to cry, let them cry, even to bitterly weep and sob. Don't shut it out by preemptive comfort. You know, I see for those of us who are helping somebody else collect themselves, we think that our goal is to make them not cry. But hey, calm down. Hey, I need you to calm down. I need you to calm down, you know, like that. But our role in that situation as pilot is, do they need to cry? And do they need to just talk it out? And I'm here. Do you know what it means to hold space?
Yeah, I think.
No.
Yeah.
Yes, let me explain hold space, okay? Hold space, if you try to talk to somebody who is wobbly or who is not equipped to help somebody in extreme stress, if they start talking, they'll notice that you as the listener are just, oh my gosh, that's horrible, you know, and oh my gosh, I can't even believe it. Why would God do that? You know, I mean, it's that kind of thing where they were, you know, bouncing things toward you, and you got more upset or got all churned up on your own, instead of being able to be kind of a steady place for them to read and okay, let me get this out of my way. Okay, for them to, so holding space is, they say their first thing that is, you know, flipped out. And I just am steady and in listening, and my face is looking like I can handle this, and let me be a safe place for you to talk. And I'm just allowing you to reflect back and just have that space, and I'm steady. Okay. And that kind of a feel, that's holding space. It's just saying, I'm, cry it out, and I'm not going to be freaked out about it. I'm just going to let you do what you need to do. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Isn't that a lovely, wait a minute, did we lose? I think we lost Diana. So we'll just wait a minute until they reconnect, okay? How is this going? Any questions so far?
No, it's good. Good.
We're back.
Okay.
All right.
Yeah,
Now re-explain.
we're good. Okay, so how far had I gotten into defining holding space?
Just started.
Just started?
Yeah.
Okay, so holding space is different. We've already talked about stepping into pilot for that other person. If somebody has not stepped into pilot and somebody hits us with a big wave of something really traumatic, if we're not holding space, we get totally, consumed by what they're doing, and we react. So they say, oh my, I'm in a disaster, I'm in a disaster. And our reaction is, oh my gosh, what do we do? What do we do? And this is horrible, that kind of a thing. They sent their words to me, and I didn't hold it. I freaked out on my own. And so they will shut that down because they realize it's not safe to to talk to you, because I need to be the one that has the spotlight of being freaked out. I don't want you to get the spot, So holding space is they send that to me, and I react by just kind of holding it steady and saying, oh, that's just awful. How do you feel about that? What's going on with you? Hi, Louisa, how are you?
Good, thank you.
So holding space is just kind of the steadiness. All right. It's a beautiful thing when somebody does it. There are some of you that are in this group that are tremendous at holding space. Okay. And so it's like, I'm not turning the spotlight on me. I'm keeping it on you, and I'm a safe place for you to talk it out, and I'm not going to freak out. Okay. Okay. So that's what the holding space. Do you know the word normalize?
Yeah.
Yes, that word is in the last paragraph of that page, second, second full line from the bottom. Circle that word. Okay. If somebody has not ever been in a tremendous crisis, and they're suddenly in a crisis, and they're kind of freaked out at the level of their reaction to the crisis, to normalize it is to say, it's okay for you to be feeling this out of control feeling. Okay. So it's like, was it Donna who was saying, she was talking to Danita, and then she was saying just a few things that were kind of to just kind of, it's okay for Danita to be however, agitated she is. And I'm not going to be freaked out about it, because you know what? This is how it feels when we first go into a crisis like this. Okay. It's that kind of thing. Okay. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So normalize is part of the freak out of somebody else, is that they're feeling like, I have just gone crazy. Okay, my reaction is too strong. It's weird. It's not the right one. And so as pilot, being calm in that situation, I help them to go, you know what, this is pretty typical of what it's like if you just lose somebody that's your best friend, and it's okay. And how do you feel about that? And I haven't added my own information necessarily, but I've helped them to go, this is common demand. This is, you know, this is not you being, you know, weird.
Right.
Okay. And if somebody feels like, or especially if somebody is tremendously angry and we hold space, we just say, you know what, the first reaction when something like this happens is to be really angry. And I'm not going to be down on you if you want to talk about why you're angry. Okay, that's okay. Does that make sense? Okay.
Yes.
I experienced something like this with my oldest son over the phone a couple weeks ago. I called him and he started like flipping out on the phone, which is harder to, you know, display your
Yes.
calming efforts. But he was angry with his other brother, my youngest son, and he was, you know, angry, you know, just I could hear his anger. And I started talking a little bit and then I shut up because I knew that he had to get it out of him. And I didn't take his anger that he was saying over the phone inwardly towards myself because I knew he was just angry,
Yeah.
you know.
Yeah.
And then at the end of the conversation, he calmed down and I said,
Yeah.
I can relate to what you're saying, you know, and we'll continue to pray about the
Yeah.
situation.
Yeah. Good example. Yeah. I think mainly,
I don't know how to activate Pilot.
huh?
I don't know how to act. I wrote on my thing, how do I activate Pilot?
Well, that's something, what you did
Yeah.
in that conversation was you did activate Pilot
Okay.
because you were listening to him, and the typical response would have been to either get off, you know, in his face about something or to take it personally. Oh,
Yeah.
I'm a horrible mother if my two sons are feeling bad, you know, that kind of thing. But you didn't. You realized, oh, he needs to do such and so. And then you came back with a calm reaction. See, that's Pilot. So
Okay.
Yeah.
way to go.
Yeah.
High five. All right. Okay. All right. So how are we doing? I've got my, okay, I think we're doing
What
okay.
page were you on? Just so I can track, sorry.
I want to switch to, we're already getting a little bit behind, but I want, we were on page 161. And be kind is, I mean, this was an excellent example of what you were talking about, where you were kind to understand what your son needed and just do it and then answer in a calm way at the end. Okay. But kindness is tremendous thing that makes all of this stuff work well. If people know that we're on their side, that we are willing to listen to them, willing to help them, tremendous gift to give to people. Okay. In a work situation, it's more likely that it would be that I'm staying calm and I'm not immediately barking at you that, you know, snap out of it, you know. I think that that's that this is mainly our stance of being able to assess the situation without us freaking out. Okay, so on 163, let's jump to that.
Can I ask a question? And
yes.
you can feel free to disregard it if it's gonna come up, just let me know.
Yes.
But when you are in this beginning part where you're trying to bring Pilot back down, I had actually a situation this week where the person was 100% in a negative mind space and did not want to come out. So they weren't crazy, but they immediately switched to negative and refused and rebutted any positivity.
Yeah.
So that's a situation I was faced with. And be kind, typically, if they're that way, my pull is to try to bring the positive in so that they could not stay in that place. But is that the wrong thing to do when they don't want it? And it's obvious they don't want it.
I think that we'll get to this. It'll
Okay.
be easier to do this when we talk about standing, because that
Perfect.
sounds like an issue of standing.
Okay,
Okay,
perfect.
all
Sure.
right. So let's do, on 163, we're talking about when to consider doing, leading somebody through a drill. And before we get to that, I want to make the statement, just listening in a way of holding space for someone is tremendous. And I would guess that 80% of the time, maybe 85% of the time, we could solve everything just by holding space, right?
Yeah.
Us staying in pilot so that we are focused on them and seeing their need and kind of keeping tuned to what's their need, and us just kind of being stable for them, solves most things. And Pat is particularly good at doing this kind of thing and leading it around at the end to say, would it be okay if I prayed for you at the end? And you know what? Gosh, that's just fabulous. Okay, right? Okay, so we're not talking about anytime somebody calls you and they're really upset. Okay, we're thinking, okay, when can I get them to shut up so I can lead them through stand down?
No.
Yeah, right. Okay, we want them to, we want to we want to be there for them with what they need in that moment. Okay, so on 163, in talking about grounding or stand down, it's two very different situations. Okay, and I just want you to be aware of the signs that somebody is seriously going into freeze mode, where it would be very helpful to, pull them out with doing grounding with them. Okay. And I have been in situations where people have seriously gone into this, where they were slipping down the rabbit hole. And one of the situations, the person was doing in a counseling setting, and they had really connected with a memory, but then they started getting overwhelmed by that memory. Okay. And I wasn't leading the session. It was somebody else. And, the first time I saw how to do this, and the woman, she was like in her 40s, and the woman, her vocabulary switched to being adult talk to being, I scared, bad man, will kill me, that kind of, the vocabulary very decisively changed to childlike. Okay. Body language is the terrified little kid. Okay, it's amazing to watch this transition. They're not telling the story, they're in the story, and they're terrified by the story they're in. Okay, and the mindset, very much a mindset of freeze mode, which is doom and despair. Okay, so it's like, Louisa, your friend really, does need to just be pulled out of doom and despair and then figure it out. But if she's not willing to, then, what are you going to do? But doom, I'm going to die, like that. And despair, there's nothing I can do. Nobody can help me. Okay. There's no escape. I can't move, kind of a thing. Okay. And so this severe kind of, is that Maria?
Yes.
I didn't see you come in.
Yeah.
She came in, she snuck in.
Snuck in.
That's, you're sitting in Barbara's chair.
Yes.
pretty much.
Yes,
Yeah, that's
okay,
Barbara.
okay, all right, okay. Okay, so do you, have any of you ever seen somebody in that severe of a situation? I mean, that was one of the worst times that I had ever seen. And there was a lady there that had been trained on what to do and led the person through grounding. And it was just like, just awesome to watch and to see what to do. And so that's why if something happens like this will really help you to know what to do in that kind of a setting. Okay? Any
Okay.
comments or questions about that?
The only thing, I have a question, just, and not so much on the grounding, but on the stand down. Well, maybe it could be both.
Well, let's do the stand down first.
Okay, all right. that'll be
Okay,
fine. That's fine.
so what is the, what is the a tip off that somebody is desperately needs stand down if they have gone into flight or fight mode?
Their anger, I feel like you would see a ton of body cues for this one.
Yes, yeah,
The
yeah.
clenching of the fist or
Yeah.
even grinding of teeth and,
Yeah.
setting of the jaw.
yeah,
Mhm.
Tone of voice.
Tone of voice.
yes, yeah. And it's that, I think that the thing is, someone caught up by flight or fright who keeps revving up into more extreme fear or panic or rage, who doesn't settle down by just talking it out. And I think that's, so our plan A, even with helping someone else to collect themselves, is to let them talk. And I mean, that I'm in pilot mode and I'm letting them talk. And if, and that should get more intense, and then they kind of talk it out and let out steam, and then it kind of goes down again. Okay, okay. If that doesn't happen, they may need help. All right, but that's tricky. It's dangerous territory. Okay, and then yes. So what's your question now, Diana?
Well, go ahead and take Maria's first and then I'll ask you.
I just wanted to ask if, when that stuff happens, is it possible that people can go into like a panic attack? Because some of those symptoms about the freezing and, the clenching and, because I've had that experience.
Yeah.
And it was horrible.
Yeah.
And it stemmed from fear.
Yes.
And can that happen? I mean,
Yeah.
could having a full-blown panic attack come after, follow, like something like that, when that does happen to an individual?
I think that if that is a state of mind that people are prone to, I would, at times when the person is not in the panic attack, ask them what will help them the most. Okay, because they may have specific things that they find helpful and things that they don't find helpful. Okay, but if somebody is in panic and it's a stranger and it seems like they're wanting help, then we come in and say, would it be okay if I helped you to calm down? Okay, and just offer that as a service. Okay, I mean, your clientele, I mean, you're the expert on that. I'm not the expert. Okay, let's switch over to 6.
Really quick. There's a really
Yes.
quick question. What if you're off, you do tell them, would you like me to help you? They say, yes, we go through all the steps. And then you're trying to help them. And then you realize that they don't want help.
Yeah, that's the same question that Louisa is.
Yeah, that's
And
the
I-
same
and-
thing, right? Okay.
And I don't know if we're gonna be able to do it before our break, but this issue of do you have standing is crucial, okay? But on 164, I want to make sure that we just touch on, do this drill only if actual danger has passed.
Mhm, mhm.
Okay, if it's a live shooting situation, don't go try to lead people through a drill. Everybody gets safe first.
Yeah.
Okay, but also, especially if this is a freeze situation, even if it feels extreme to you, if the person just found out that their husband died, do not lead them through grounding. Okay, if they are in shock, that's their body's way of having a first, the first, in moment of information. If they go into shock, put a blanket around them.
Sure.
Okay, God made the system to help them to deal with that situation. And so we need to be very humble when we are thinking about especially pulling somebody out of freeze mode. Okay. Pilot is super important for us to be in, but if we pull them out again and they weren't ready for that, they're needing to be in shock.
Mhm.
Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Okay, so we need to be very, very humble about that. But if somebody is partly in freeze mode and they are afraid of how much they are in freeze mode, we can be really super helpful to help them to pull out. Okay, does that make sense?
Yeah.
Okay, all right. The alarm is going to ring in 2 minutes, so let's jump into standing. Did you like reading this section about do you have standing?
Yeah.
Was that new information?
Yes.
Yes. Okay. Who is it that decides if you have standing to lead them through a drill?
I think the other person.
The other person.
Yeah.
The other person's evaluation is the thing that trumps anything that you want to do. Okay. So I think that answers Luisa's question. This lady does not think you have standing to actually change her.
I think she
thinks,
does. I think I do have standing because it was my sister.
yeah, but see, even on sister, it's your bossy big sister or a family member who doesn't listen to you.
So I'm wondering, in a case like this, something that came out of her mouth makes me think I don't have standing. But I think in that moment, in normal times, I totally have standing.
Yeah.
But in this situation, so unfortunately, it seems like she's going through another miscarriage right now.
Oh.
So in that moment, the doctors have not seen growth in the pregnancy and they're doing a check in a week. And I said, God is in control. We don't know what he's going to do. And they could be wrong about due dates and all these things. And she said, I've been pregnant 6 times. I think I would know. So that comment made me think, okay, I don't have standing because I haven't had 5 miscarriages.
Yeah.
So in the moment, I don't think I did based on that. But in our regular life, I
Yes.
totally do. And she came
Yes.
back to me later. So in that moment, based on this, I should not have done a drill because it was not a time it would have been received.
Yes, yes, yes. And I think that this is a very helpful concept for me. When I talk to people, most of the time, if somebody goes to the trouble to make an appointment with me, they've given me standing, just by, they've set an appointment. They're wanting me. And so the pressure is on me. hey, do something, you know,
Right.
help me out. But just, I'm wanting to mainly train for those times that you are on the phone with somebody, just like Luisa's situation, and for you to be able to kind of think about, do I have standing or not? And be trained so that you can go ahead and do it if you decide that you have standing, okay?
I just had a thought before the break. It's a quick one. You know,
Yes.
this pilot prayer we're saying in the morning, it might be wise to add in a line about discernment regarding pilot in general for our daily situations. You
I
know,
love that. Put a, craft a sentence that you like, and you're on the group text. I would love that. That would be great. I have handwritten things on mine. I have a handwritten on the bottom of the sheet that I use in my prayer time. I have the verse that is the promise to me for God providing everything we need. So yeah, so that would be great. Okay, are we ready for a break?
One last question. Again,
Yes.
kind of referring back to Louisa, I understand about her sister, and I think that's this is a different situation. I'm just wondering if people are so used to being revved up because of a continuous problem, if they are afraid to leave that position, let's put it that way,
Mhm.
that they don't really want help. They just
Yeah.
want to be able to, it's kind of like playing a victim card.
Yeah. Okay, how about Maureen? You're shaking your head.
I don't know. I'm not totally, I don't know. I feel that sometimes people just don't know the way. It's maybe in a way, it's just so overwhelming that at the moment, it's not that you want to be stuck there. Nobody wants to be stuck. It's just, it might be for some people a way of not being able to communicate the feelings to express how the, and especially if it's somebody that you don't really have a lot of communication with. I think that's what I've seen with people. They kind of clam down a little bit more until they get to that point where they can have
Yeah.
a little bit more of an interaction or
Yeah.
feel comfortable, right? To be able to
Yes.
open up. I don't
Yes.
know. It's just,
Yeah. Yes. I think that this is, you make a really good point. And this is part of what gives standing. We earn credibility and we earn standing by listening to people when they're not totally freaked out. And by being interested in their story and not immediately flipping into church lady, with people, but, being kind to people and receptive and focused on them and listening, all of that stuff builds credibility so that if an emergency comes up, we have standing in that moment. Okay. So this is, it seems like we're saying, well, all of this stuff needs to happen first, but I just want you to know that for us, just being in life, hey, I got this new thing that I like doing and it's really helping me. And then somebody else is in a crisis. And so we need to be wise about Luisa's words is great, discerning. But do you get the idea? I would go ahead with a stand down drill with somebody. And did you notice that trick that I had? If somebody does not give us standing, but they are in their loop of either worry, panic, that, or anger, and they're not open to, calming down in a good way. If I'm on the phone with them, I will say, hey, could I call you back in 5 minutes? And I quickly get off the phone and then come back in 5 minutes. And I just, you know, wait. It's like magic. Or if you're there with somebody, and you're in the same place with them, you'll say, hey, I really want to hear what you have to say, but I need to go to the bathroom. Can I go to the bathroom? And I'll be back in 5 minutes. And for some reason, see what happens, they have no audience. And so that's given them an opportunity to calm down. Okay, all right?
Thank
So
you. You just answered my question. Thank you.
I don't, and I don't address, hey, you're totally freaked out and you're resisting good help. I don't say any of that. I've just said, hey, can I take a 5-minute break? Okay, so how are you guys doing? I have a graphic and I could do, how about if we do like a 7-minute break? Does that sound okay? So if you need to go to the bathroom, stand up, walk around, get some more coffee, whatever. Okay?
Yes.
And-
thank you.
And I will, and I'm going to be here. I'm not going to stop the recording, but I'm going to try to do my, let's see if I can. I have a graphic. How is this? Is that pretty?
Oh, he's so cute.
Now, do you, look, oh, where'd it go? Where'd it go?
Come back.
There. How do you like that? Okay, so mute yourself and we'll be back in 7 minutes. Can you see? Okay,
Yep.
all right.
It's,
You enjoying this so far? How are you, Maribel?
I'm a little bit sad.
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah. You've had a couple tough days, haven't you?
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We're missing the
Yeah.
person.
Yeah.
Yeah, and her daughter send me a text every day.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Oh.
It's a sad time.
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah.
No, send these days, but
Hmm. Yeah.
no, she's with the Lord
Yeah.
and she prepared something.
Yes. Yeah. Hmm.
And everything these ones that's happened
Hmm. Yeah.
for action.
Okay.
Maybe I live at 11:30. Okay.
Okay. That'll be fine.
Okay.
Okay. We're gonna jump back in. Okay, I think if you can grab your seats again and we'll get going again. So,
We'll go, ladies.
okay. There we go.
We're very fast, 7 minutes.
Very fast, 7 minutes.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay. No.
He says, I will cook you too.
How are you doing? You enjoying things?
Yeah.
Yeah? You learning anything new?
Yeah,
Yes.
a lot. Yes. I think some of this stuff we can apply to ourselves too.
Yes, we could.
I think we can learn to earn, I think we need to learn to normalize as well.
Yeah. Yes, for ourselves. Yeah.
I think we're very hard on ourselves sometimes, and that doesn't help any at all. If you're
No,
in survival mode.
nope, it doesn't.
So. That's why you said we have to preach the gospel to ourselves.
Yes.
Sometimes I'm doing that, with my sister-in-law, because she's struggling because her son is missing for many months,
Yeah.
and every time, she don't call me. I have to call her because she don't feel like,
Yeah.
maybe she don't want to share with me or whatever, and I'm really
Yeah.
in that position to listen to her at least,
Yeah.
to listen to her and find out what's going on and everything.
Okay.
And then between, the talk and everything, I tell her, I says, you know what, don't forget to rely on the Lord.
Yeah.
And then she tells me something about that, that, the police is not doing nothing, and this, and she's kind of upset, And then she continues talking, about that, and then she calms down a little bit, and then I said, well, don't forget, trust in the Lord with all your heart. So I'm preaching to her, and
Yeah.
I don't know, sometimes, she don't need that. Maybe she needs just to be listened to,
Mhm. Yeah.
Maybe
Yeah.
I'm doing something wrong at that point, you know?
Well, this is your sister. This is a different relationship than with someone who's a stranger. And I think it sounds like the way that you're saying it is in a kind way. So, and encouraging. It is a good idea to, as much as we can, to trust the Lord. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Well, I think most everybody is back. So we have, my plan is to focus maybe 15 minutes on leading an adult through the grounding drill, and then another 15 for the stand down. And I just want to mainly give you some key words to kind of use to have in your mind if the situation comes up and you're wanting to help somebody through it. Okay. All right. Okay. So if other people need to come back, they will rejoin us. Okay.
Can I ask a clarifying question?
Absolutely.
Based on what you said before, you said about the client that you had, you said, has anyone ever kind of seen this? So I just want to make sure that that's not the only time we would use drills, when we're at that extreme level, correct?
No, no.
Okay,
The best
Got it.
time to do it is when somebody has partially gone into
Okay.
freeze mode, where they are feeling like, I really want to get out of this and I don't know how.
got it.
That's perfect.
Thank you.
Okay.
That's a great
Yeah.
line to hear.
Yes.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah, that the lady that was in that situation did not come into that situation with the idea of, oh, I'm going to regress to being a little kid terrified.
No.
We want to make sure that when she goes home, she's back at being adult, you know. It's like, you know, protocol. Okay. So anyway, on leading somebody through the grounding drill, that question was just a great lead in for that. When we see somebody who is overwhelmed by their situation and that they feel like there's nothing I can do about it, okay, it is a great tool for us to use and for us to kind of, you know, offer it to people if, you know, if they want it. But the less that we, especially if it's stand down, the less that we talk about it as being something I'm going to guide you through, and more, hey, it looks like you might need help, so that you can collect yourself. And would that be okay if I helped you do that? I think that is more of a empowering way to do it, instead of, you know, making a judgment on it. We're offering it. So either one, we're offering in some way. Okay. But so right now in the book, we're on 167, and it's number 6, leading an adult through the grounding drill. Okay. And I had as questions for people, you know, preparing for this morning. And the first question is, why do we need to first get the attention of the person in freeze mode?
Because they're internalizing so much.
Yes, yes, yes,
It's
And they're-
almost like,
yes.
it's
Somebody
almost like
else.
they're
too.
not present.
They're not present.
Exactly.
Okay.
You gotta bring it back to reality, you know?
Yes, okay, but never when you're doing this, do not ever say, I want to bring you back to reality.
Right.
Yeah, but that's what you're wanting to do.
Yeah,
Um,
the ultimate goal.
the ultimate goal. So in whatever way, if the person is in front of you, so that's where I do, you know, I tap something if the person is sitting in front of me, I will touch their knee. Okay, or by their shoulder, or, you know, I'll get right in front of them and say, you know, Mary, you know, hey, would it be okay? Hey, look at me. Now, where are they looking if they're in freeze mode? They're looking down. They're not having eye contact. That's one of the signs of being into freeze mode, okay? So we're getting their attention and us maneuvering around so that we don't make it hard for them to do that, you know? So we get, you know, down on our knee in front of them or something like that. If they're on their phone, in a firm voice, Mary, Mary, stop for just a minute. I want you to listen to my voice. Mary, you know, that kind of thing. Okay, so it's different than what they had, you know, than us just talking. Okay, does that make sense?
Yes.
Okay, so that gets their attention. If I don't have their attention, then the drill just kind of slides over the top of their head. Okay, all right. I then say in a calm voice, it looks to me like you're getting really discouraged. Would it be okay if we stop for a minute and just get grounded a bit? I think that's a big part of learning how to witness to somebody and learning how to do, you know, grounding with somebody is just, what's the first sentence? Okay, right? So, you know, you can do the whole rest of the thing, but, you know, how do I broach the subject? So I want you to underline that. It's the, what is that? The 1, 2, 3, 4th paragraph down, because I have short paragraphs. Okay, highlight that or circle that. Okay, and I'm not saying, you know, I'm making it really soft. You know, you're getting really discouraged. I'm not saying, you know, you're losing, you know, connection to this time and place or reality. Not that at all. I'm identifying with the feeling of it. Okay, does that make sense? All right. Okay, and then did you notice here? Did you notice what I did about the feet? You know,
Yeah,
if they're in front of me,
I thought that was
I had
very
them do the feet. Okay, all right. Okay, and did you see, you know, why do I do that when it's somebody that doesn't know how to do the drill?
Well, just simply to initiate them into focusing on their foot rather than on their problem or
Yeah,
whatever. Mhm.
yeah. Okay,
Feeling
any other reasons why? I just have it, grab your foot.
Gives them something to do.
Redirect them.
Redirect.
If they don't know how to do the grounding drill, I can't teach them how to do it in that moment.
Right.
Okay, but anybody, stranger, anybody, if they're in a situation, you can, you know, just the thing of grabbing the feet shifts a whole bunch of stuff.
Yeah.
Because remember, the feeling of freeze mode is doom and despair, and a big part of the despair is I can't move.
Mhm.
Okay, so what we've done is we've grabbed their foot that helps them to move. Okay, so the foot is the key to grounding, because we want them to touch their feet. You know, before, when we were teaching grounding, we're taking, here's pilot, remember, and you're just looking and you're going to see your toe until you can see your toe from the toe's point of view. Okay, if it's a stranger by the side of the road, they're not going to know what to do. But if you just tell them, hey, grab your foot and we're going to do this with the foot. Okay, then, and the other thing it does is that it's so goofy.
Yeah.
It's so goofy. You know, it's hard to be totally in despair if all of a sudden you're holding your foot. Oh, you know, it's like, dude, try to be totally overwhelmed with something and I'm sitting there holding my foot. Okay. It's just kind of funny. And we want them to switch from freeze mode into child's play mode. Okay, we're wanting to go child to child in the way that we're doing that. Okay, so that's why I do that part. And then I lead them through each part of the drill. You know, and so, and I've just kind of, I've listed how to do that, but basically I'm getting them to connect with their foot is better. Okay.
Also, when they rub their foot or feet, it's so soothing. It's so
Yes.
relaxing.
Yes.
And it, you know, it will you know,
Yes.
put you in this relaxed state.
Yes.
You know, especially with the feet, you know.
Yes.
I get-
Absolutely.
I'm like,
Absolutely. Yes. When we are in fight or flight, our hands are very much active in being filled with anxiety.
yeah,
Okay. But the feet can also evidence things with, you know, people that are, you know, just, you know, jiggling their foot, right? Up and down, up and down. Okay. So that's active. Either one, if I'm taking that foot and I'm, you know, taking hold of it, I've stopped the foot from jiggling
right.
and I'm starting to, you know, self-soothe, you know, rub the foot. Here's my foot, you know, and then I could put my foot onto the ground and talk, here's the floor. You know, the floor is underneath you. The floor is solid. Okay. And the whole idea of grounding is the idea of we're not telling the person anything. We are doing something that brings things, you know, back online. Okay. So this is why grounding is great for doing with kids and things like that, because we're just doing it. Okay.
Right.
All right. Any
love-
questions about that?
No, I just want to say, I love the fact that they have, and not just grab their feet, but talk to them.
I
Talk to the
know.
foot.
Talking to
Talk,
the
yeah,
foot.
talk to your feet.
Hi, foot. Great.
It's goofy. It's
It is,
goofy.
I mean, I think it's great.
It's hard to stay super depressed if
Right.
you're looking at your foot. And you know, it brings it down to, okay, it's just this one foot is on this one floor. You know, instead of being overwhelmed by everything out there, I'm doing this thing with this foot on this floor.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. So, and the rest of it is just walking them through the other steps of it. And it's the regular way. How many of you have noticed that every single time that we have done grounding as a group, I have led you through grounding? On stand down, when we do the picture, there's, you know, standing, we'll have the topics and you can do it. And it's like, okay, everybody in 3 minutes do stand down. And so you do stand down by yourself. You just know what to do. But every time we've done grounding, I have led you through it. Okay, so it is, so that's, you know, any comments about that? What do you conclude about that?
That
I
you're
can-
teaching- Sorry,
No,
Go
please go
ahead.
ahead.
please, Lisa, go ahead.
When you are in an actual frozen mode, you are not capable of pulling yourself out to even begin the drill, typically. I mean, ourselves in the group, we're learning how to do that, but especially leading someone else, they can't do it. So you
Yeah.
have to be the voice that gives them the motions to do.
Yes. Yeah. Yeah. Yes. Good, great point. Added other points.
Well, the calming voice is really helpful,
Yeah,
and the slowness of it.
yes. Good. And the simplicity of it.
Yeah.
We're not doing anything hard.
Yeah.
Yeah. Anybody
have-
else?
I think that maybe you've also been guiding us. I mean, you're teaching us how to do it for ourselves, but you're also teaching us how to do it for someone else
Yes.
by
Yeah.
example.
Yes.
And I believe that sometimes, I don't know about anybody else, but sometimes when we've been doing it and whatnot, you realize that you have been in a semi,
Yeah.
frozen state that
Yeah.
day. Maybe you didn't notice it.
Yeah. Yeah. That's why when we are learning to do the grounding drill, that's why I say practice, practice, practice when you're not in freeze mode,
Mhm.
which is why just do it when you get out of bed, or,
Yeah.
do a break and go to the restroom and do grounding in the restroom, I mean, when there's no stress, because grounding needs to become muscle memory, so that when you're kind of not in, full, your full mind, that you'll remember how to do it just by the motions of it. Okay? Any other thoughts or comments? Does this seem like something that you could do with somebody?
Yeah.
Mhm.
I had a little aha moment this week, which pertains to exactly what you just said. So, for example, the drill that I do most often is stand down. I know how to do it. There's no question. I can easily do it. So this week, when I actually was in a crisis mode and needed to do it, I can do it. I know how to do it, but my mind is so jumbled that it becomes difficult. So my little moment to myself was, even though I know how, I have that little cheat sheet from your workshop we did in person, and I need to have that always nearby. So in this case, I actually ran and grabbed my book and just did it. It was next to me, and I didn't end up using it all that much, but it helped almost like bring me down to that moment. So
Mhm.
even knowing it, I think it's helpful if you have something to hold on to,
Yeah.
at least because all of us are still very, very new to this. So even though we know the
Yeah.
steps.
Yeah. Okay. Very good point. And all of you have gotten the just a thing in your study guide that for the stand down drill and the grounding drill. So this, I'm still working on doing the cheat notes. I think you'll get that at the end of the class, not the beginning. I'm sorry. But you all have a copy of the grounding drill and the stand down drill in your study guide. And it's meant for you to take out of the study guide, fold up, and, keep in your purse or wherever is helpful. Okay.
Well, and the YouTube is helpful too. It's there.
And the YouTube, yes.
Yeah.
The YouTube video things, yes, are a good spot for it. Okay, how are we doing? Oh, whoosh. Okay. What?
Nothing, it's okay.
Okay. Leading the adult through the stand down drill. Did you think that was kind of funny? When I was talking about how to do that? What's the problem, with suggesting somebody go through a stand down drill? What state of mind is somebody in? Or after listening to them for a while, we still think that they would be helped by going through the stand down drill. What does that mean? What state of mind is that person in?
They're still revved up.
They're revved up, okay? Yes, so we need to be extremely tactful when we do this. Because they're easily able to turn their guns on us. There's this big, horrible, terrible injustice out there. And then you come along saying, hey, maybe it would help you if I helped you with the stand down drill. And they go over to June, and shoot you in the head, figuratively, because what do you mean? You mean that I'm not in control, that kind of thing. So it's a dicey situation. If somebody is that much revved up, so we need to be extraordinarily tactful in the way that we do this. And if at all possible, not even, make it obvious that we think, you know what, you're really a little bit too revved up. Okay. What?
I just said, a little bit off the far end over here,
Yes, yes. So we are on page 169, and the 1, 2, 3, third paragraph down,
Multiple choice.
multiple choice question. I want you to, this is the top thing for you to remember. So I want you to circle a deliberately complex multiple choice question.
Absolutely.
Okay, this will kill many birds with one stone. Okay, all right. And it keeps us adult and them adult. We're treating them like an adult by asking the question. Okay, if we don't mess it up and have the, so that's why I'm giving you a sample of the kind of thing to do. So this thing, Mary, and this thing, remember I was asking, what's the question or the statement to get you in? And I want you to circle the next thing down that's indented. Mary, this is a terrible situation. Could I just ask you a question? How would you like me to help you? And then start into your multiple choice. But that 2 lines, this is a terrible situation. Could I ask you a question? How would you like me to help you? Okay. That helps, that keeps, I'm being very respectful. I'm asking for information that is assuming that they are a rational adult. Okay. But then I'm giving them choices, and basically whatever choices that come to your mind, just make sure that you've got at least 3 options that you give the person. Okay. It doesn't matter what the questions, the options are, as much as that you give them options. Okay. And have one of them be, my preference now after listening, if you'd be okay with it, would be to help you collect yourself a little so you can make the wisest decision. I want you to underline, you can make the wisest decision. Okay, I'm still honoring their ability to figure this out. Okay, I'm not assuming that they are, a basket case. Okay.
So what you're saying here, Dee Dee, is the very first statement that comes out of our mouth should be a validation of where they're at.
A validation of where they're at. And I'm not wanting to shut anything down, but I'm just saying, kind of, and oftentimes in this kind of a situation, I'll actually do a little timeout. Hey, timeout. And then I'll just ask the question. So it's not, so I haven't taken away from what their riff, you know what a riff is? Yeah. It's like, oh, this is horrible, and this is horrible, and this is horrible. And it gets, and it's our thing that we say, and we say the same 7 things in a row. That's the riff. Okay. So I'm trying to interrupt that. I've heard it at least once, probably twice. Okay. And then I interrupt when they start in again. Okay. Okay. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Multiple choice question. And why am I doing a multiple choice question?
You're forcing them to think.
Yes. And in thinking, to activate
Pilot.
Their pilot,
their pilot. I'm
Mhm.
wanting them to activate their pilot,
right?
okay?
So puts it back into their hands, into their control. you know.
Yes, okay, so I'm not doing stand down so that I will run the ship now, or I will be the one to figure out their problem. I'm not doing stand down to help them figure it out. I'm doing stand down so that they collect themselves. So, and then at the end, do you see the end?
Yeah.
You see it on 170. Second paragraph, at the end, I noticed it never feels appropriate to the person to jump right into the same rant or the same fearful talk. So I generally step into that awkward moment and ask a question in a matter-of-fact way that activates their pilot again. And it's a question that's leading to a choice. Okay. Now that we've taken it, what do you notice about this crisis or your reaction you haven't noticed before? So it's like, that's a thing that I'm asking their pilot. Okay. Or, you know, what would be a wise next step? I'm switching us, and at the end, I'm switching us. Do you see that place in the paragraph below the bullets? Do some productive problem solving.
Yeah.
Okay, so I've started it with a multiple choice question to activate her pilot. I'm offering to help her do the drill to help her collect herself so that she can figure out next steps. And then at the end, I'm saying, okay, what do you think would be a good next step? So I'm not jumping in to solve her problem. I want her to feel at the end of the stand down drill more collected and more with her wits about her so she can figure this out. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Oh, and at the end of grounding, with the end of grounding, no problem solving, right?
Right.
We're
Yeah.
not problem solving at the end of grounding. We're helping them to rest, because if they flipped into, being overwhelmed, we want them to be in a calmer place to rest. Okay. So we're not wanting them to start talking about the situation again with grounding, but with stand down, if they're anxious or worried, we want to, okay, how about if we just stop and pray about it for a minute, and then let's figure out a good next step. See, both of those are active and problem solving. Okay, right?
Mhm.
Same thing with anger. Okay, yeah, you're right. This is horrible. It's horrible injustice, but what might be a good next step for you to do?
Okay. What about
Okay.
a question like, what would it look like to you? What would it look like if, etc.? Or what would you, what would you like to see from this?
Yes.
Is that a good?
I'm with stand down, I'm wanting to activate them. And then I'm kind of backing away.
Mhm.
I'm not the one that's going to come, as Yoda and, and be the wise one, right?
Right.
I'm wanting them to actually collect themselves, for them to be in normal mode, that green section,
Yeah.
so that they can, so that they can solve it themselves.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And that all of that lessens the chance that they will get mad at me if I'm suggesting, hey, let's collect ourselves. I honor them all the way through it. Okay. Because I don't want them to bite my head off, for one thing, but also I want them, they are more with their wits about them already. And I feel like the most empowering thing that I can do for them is to help them collect themselves so they, get their good sense back. Okay. And they'll be much more open to talking to me next time around if they came away from that conversation feeling like she listened to me, and then she helped me so that I could figure it out. And hey, I figured out something that was a practical thing to do. Okay, does that make sense?
Mhm.
Yeah?
Yes.
Okay, all right. Oh, I've got this glorious chart to show you
Wonderful. Let me
on helping a child collect themselves. Okay, so let's whip through this so that we can get to my glorious chart. Okay. So instead of kind of talking about what to do with the child, we can do both stand down and grounding with the child if it's appropriate for us to do that. Okay. And it's okay to do some part of it and not the whole thing. Any part of stand down drill will help, and any part of grounding drill will help in that situation. Okay, does that make sense?
Yeah.
Yes.
All right. So the two great things happen when we help children collect themselves. We help them develop their own pilot. Let's spend, 2 minutes. Do you see this as being crucial?
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yes.
Until about age 8 or 9, at least, a child, a baby, a toddler, a child probably doesn't have any version of a pilot. Okay. And pilot will begin to, that's why it doesn't finish developing until into our early 20s, which is why when people have the draft for military, they do it at 18, when the kids still don't have the well-developed pilot to go, hey, maybe that wouldn't be the safest thing to do. It's like, hey, yeah, we'll jump up. So,
I'm sorry, what do the insurance companies do? The rate on insurance for young people under the age of 25 is higher than anybody else's,
yes.
except when you
yes.
get to your 70s.
Precisely, because we need pilot. Okay,
Exactly.
so in this thing, a child does not have their own pilot. They only have Amy that feels feelings, especially feelings of fear. And they have Hippo that is giving meaning to those feelings. They have that part, that's chugging along just fine. But what they don't have is pilot to give them a wider perspective. Okay, so if a child doesn't get candy at the candy aisle and they start having a tantrum, they don't have any mechanism to self-modulate. Okay, so they really need a parent to come along and be pilot for them, to kind of model what pilot would do. Okay, and it's just amazing how vital that is. And if we as parents do, our way of if the kid has a tantrum is for us to get really angry and shut it down by force, so to speak, that hasn't taught the child anything about pilot. It just teaches them, hey, I better stop it because mom will, punish me.
Yeah.
Okay, that hasn't taught pilot.
No.
Okay, but now if a child misbehaves, and they're at an age when they should know better, appropriate discipline is fine. Appropriate discipline does not teach pilot. Okay. Pilot is taught when the child is frightened. Okay, so if the child is frightened and we come along and help that child to calm down, by us being calm and leading that child so the child settles down, okay, and recovers, you know, equilibrium. That is a situation where we that was one situation of teaching them pilot. Okay, all right, does that make sense?
Yes.
Okay.
I
Now
have a
let's see.
Question, meeting, really quick.
Yes.
Do you think that because of the fact that the child's, until they're 25, their pilot is not properly, they don't really have properly, you know, it's not properly developed, excuse me. Do you think that that might be one of the roots, apart from the sin nature of rebellion?
Well, pilot is the highest place of development for the brain. Okay, and so part of it is just biological, that until we're at an age when pilot can develop, it's not going to be there.
I'm talking about teenagers and whatnot, when they go through those years, if their pilot is not well developed, do you think that it's one of the contributing factors to rebellion?
Sure, yeah, I think so. So the work that we do that's really good work starts from infant, you know, through, you know, elementary years, is I think the prime time of helping the child, of us acting the role of pilot to our children. Okay, and that teaches them pilot. So there are some 12-year-olds who have a pretty good, you know, well-developed pilot. And there are some 35-year-olds who have no concept of pilot. Okay, so it's like, okay, all right, let me get back to my great chart. Let's see if I can find it. Okay, so let's share this one. Okay, and let's see. Let's see if I can always, it's always hard to get to the next slide. Okay, bear with me. Okay.
I'm impressed by you. I'm telling you that.
There you go.
You're able to move on.
What?
I said, I'm really impressed that you're able to do all of this, so.
Oh, well, okay. Here's this is a diagram about attachment bonding. And this is the bond, you know, between a mom and a baby. Okay. And I'm going to say toddler for this one. Okay. So I'm going to go around this. Let's see. I can't find my cursor. Does anybody see my cursor?
Yeah.
Oh, here it is. Here it is. Okay, so here is mom and baby. And this is, we're building secure base. Okay, this is something that is going on neurologically in the baby's mind and with the mom in the mom's mind. Okay, so both of them are built. Remember a few weeks ago where we were talking about neuroplasticity?
Yes.
Where we were building a new synapse. This right here, this one circle is one circle around of a path in the brain. And it starts out as just this little, you know, thing that could go back easily. And we build a good path in the brain, strong, of baby and mom bonding, you know, and attaching to each other, just to say mom is safe and baby is welcomed, and mom loves baby and baby loves mom. All of that attaching is this diagram. Okay, so we start at the bottom. Let me find my cursor. Okay, so do you see that baby is pretty happy? I mean, doesn't this look like I just fell into, you know, cheese, and, you know, I'm just happy as I can be. And sitting on the lap of the mom, okay? So now the next step is that the toddler ventures out because he feels really safe with mom, but he doesn't have to sit on mom's lap. He can go crawl around the room and play with toys and something. So this venturing out is the first part of it, okay? So he's ventured out even more, and then something frightens the toddler. You know, a little thing, a big thing, they hear a loud noise, they hear something, and they move from there. The toddler heads back to mom, okay? So they crawl back, or they you know, cry out or something, but there's some way that they're heading back toward mom, okay? And that this is the point right here that is the drum roll, drum roll, drum roll. This, when this happens, this decides whether there's a good attachment bond. Okay, toddler signals their distress to mom. And do you see that? There's this little signal that goes to mom. And is she going to get it that that the baby was distressed? And is she going to welcome the baby if the baby comes all the way? Okay, so this happens if the mom is a great mom, you know, or even a, you know, good-hearted, good mom. The mom will recognize that signal. There'll be some way she'll, you know, look over there or say something or something, and mom notices and welcomes the toddler. And so the baby thinks, oh, I'm so relieved. And so the baby, you know, comes back over, climbs back in the lap. Mom comforts and reassures the toddler. Okay, and that's one circle. Okay, and do you see how fear has been a big part of that? Okay, all right. So if that happens one time, and then it happens again, and then it happens again. Remember, we had that path that started out just one little, you know, footpath, and then it got bigger and bigger and bigger and wider and stronger. Okay, is this a new diagram to people? Some of you probably know about this.
New diagram, yeah.
Yeah.
What?
My son that has 6 kids, he sometimes does the mom thing here. He's doing the mom thing. Because
Yeah,
I see my grandkids running to their daddy, you know, and he's such a good dad. I mean,
Yeah.
yeah, I don't know. This is the one I had the fight, or not the fight, but he was yelling at me. So he has a lot of frustration. you
yeah,
know.
yeah,
But even his uncle has told him, you're a great dad. He's
yeah,
very involved with his kids, and he works full time. Yeah, but the kids run to him. They run to
Yeah.
him. I see him run
Yes.
to mom too, but they run more to him. I see them running more to him.
The mom says, "John,
this dad,
I'll take care of it."
both the mom and the dad work to create this attachment bond, a good attachment bond. I mean, Maria, it's lovely to behold, isn't it?
Yes.
It's just lovely when it works. And
Yeah.
let me see if I can get my last 2 things here. Let me see. There are 2 tremendous messages that the toddler gets if they have repeat this pathway gets stronger and stronger and stronger. The first is the toddler has, I have power to act on my own behalf, right? Because something frightened the toddler, and the toddler got up and walked over, or the toddler cried out, or the toddler did something. The toddler signals the distress, and something good happened. So that they get tremendous self-confidence, and they also, on this bottom part, get a strong belief people can be trusted. If I go signal my distress, somebody bigger than me is going to help me.
Right.
Okay, if if they do this circle and get as far as signaling the distress and nothing happens, that what the big message here is people can't be trusted to help me. Okay, and there's nothing I can do to act in my own behalf. Okay, so this is a super critical pathway to be putting together. And if this is well established, there are two things that build off of this. And one is if I am able to establish this satisfying relationship with mom and dad, then I can establish the same kind of relationship with, you know, a boyfriend or a girlfriend, and it, you know, make a healthy relationship when I, you know, get older. And the other thing is, look at how this would impact my my view of God and whether God can be trusted.
Yeah, that's right.
If I have mom and dad that helped me when I was in distress and didn't just give me a whipping, but recognized that I was in distress and came over and, you know, then that builds something deep. And so I can go, oh, well, you know, if I'm in deep distress, I can go to God and he'll help me. Okay. So isn't that a cool diagram?
Yes.
I really like that diagram. Okay.
I think there's something on that diagram that we also cannot fail to realize the importance. So I think anyone who knows my kids here will know they're very self-assured, independent kids. And people always act so surprised. You know, my 4-year-old has been 15 since she was like 2, you know?
Mhm.
And it's because
That's
a
true.
very big part of that is not, okay, so the cycle happens, the baby comes back for reassurance. You do that, but then you let them go again.
Yes.
And that's a very big part. People don't let them go again. And
Yeah.
now you have scared kids.
Yeah.
So I think we
Yes.
cannot overstate the importance that the whole cycle must repeat continually.
Yes, absolutely. Absolutely. Okay. Any other questions or comments?
I have a big question about
Yes.
grounding for kids.
Yeah.
So I have one of my 3 that will be one that will absolutely go into freeze mode. The other 2 are like me and they're crazy and, you know, we rev up, but that
Yeah.
one goes down quickly. So 2 questions I have, and the first one is, how appropriate is it if it's me who is the one who made him freeze to then try to pull him out? Because typically that's the case, right? It was me that made him shrink. And then the second one is, in cases you're saying to not go back to problem solve, but one thing I see a lot is he's a struggling learner, very difficult. So of course then I'm yelling because he's not doing it, and I see the switch and I reel myself in, but sometimes we've passed it. We need to do some sort of grounding drills,
Mhm.
but we still need to get back to our schoolwork. So what is
Yeah.
appropriate in that case? Because we can't just rest.
Mhm.
So
Yeah.
I don't really know how to approach grounding since that's not something that's familiar to me.
Okay.
With kids.
Let's take it in a couple of ways. And I'll make it really short because our time is up and you guys have been really generous to let me have this whole big block of time, and I don't want to misuse the time, but a couple of things. I think that it's worth it to, if you see a problem that is a specific problem that's in a homeschool setting, I see no problem with doing a little timeout and shaping a new response to that situation, and just do a little bit of problem solving and kind of maybe outside of the classroom setting, you know, maybe talk it over with this child and just say, you know what, why don't we try something a little bit different? And because I see that sometimes I kind of, make things worse for you. and let me see if I can help to make them better. Okay, and maybe we can practice with this and do some experiments on it. And then to do that, then it's kind of both of you kind of, you know, experimenting with it, and you kind of let him know, you know, privately before you practice in public. How does that sound? Okay. And I don't think that you need to do all of grounding to kind of pull things back. And, you know, any one part of the drill of the feet and of the kind of getting things settled is will be helpful. Okay, you don't have to do the whole, you know, because I think just something that will kind of back it up so that we're kind of okay, we're okay.
Yeah.
And then go back in. Yeah. Does that make sense?
Yeah,
Yes.
especially if it's caught quickly enough, I think. That
Yes.
makes the most
Okay.
sense.
Maureen, did you have a comment?
I don't know. I don't know if it will be helpful, but I also have been doing homeschooling with not only with my kids, but I had, about 200 kids in our school. And I think that in what was taught to me, or what somebody once said to me, is that yes, it's good to change things during the day, but sometimes when we have little problems, if we can always have in the back of our mind that that is a great opportunity to minister to the child's heart at that moment, many times we get cut off. With my personality, I always wanted to be on schedule, with everything that needs to be done during the day. But sometimes we do need to stop things, either to be able to discipline, or to be able to encourage, or to be able to regroup the ideas of what's happening, with the child or in the home. And so many times we do have to stop and just to be able to think if it's really truly the child or if it's us, because many times it can be us also that, our emotions are out of place. Many of the times when I recall that I took the time to be able to just stop, either to discipline or to be able to minister to the hearts, those were the times that we were making more memories in my children's lives, and that they can recall, and that they can also, where I saw a change in their heart. Does that make sense? Okay. Or it was a change also in my heart at that moment. So I don't know if that's helpful, but that was something that, that I had to learn through time, to change that switch in my mind also, that sometimes we do have to stop the day, and it's going to be okay. It's going to be okay. So I don't know if that's helpful.
Yes, it is. Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you very much, Maureen. And thank you for asking that question, because that's a really good one, especially if you're working with children, just pretty much in any setting. Yeah, whether it's homeschooling makes it more difficult and challenging. Yeah, so I thought you would have some words of wisdom, Maureen. So thank you for your input. Yeah. Okay. How are we doing? How do you like this? Do you feel more empowered?
Yes.
Thank you.
Okay. Did you learn anything new?
A lot.
Okay. Okay. What did you find most helpful? A takeaway that you found most helpful?
Is not getting so involved yourself personally, how you're able to guard yourself,
Okay.
taking on that person's responsibility of caring for themselves. You
Yeah.
know, so you can't solve their problem, but you can help direct maybe.
Yeah. Okay. That's a really good takeaway. Great. Good. Anything else? Any new thoughts that you got?
Just making them think, I think that was so incredible what you said about having them be able to go through the process of thinking the ideas of the situation, the problem that they are facing. So many times, even us, we are blinded, right? As to what is the next step to take. But, and I guess also what was said right now is just to not really get involved so emotionally, because many times we want to we feel, we feel for the situation that is occurring, but it can also be draining to someone, right? When you
Yeah.
are trying to minister, right?
Okay.
It can be draining. Thank
Yes.
you.
Okay.
Yep.
Oh, we're way behind, way past. Okay. So next week, we're doing a lesson on practicing this when we find ourselves in the middle of an argument. So we are revved up, as well.
Oh,
as
boy.
It's really easy to be violent for somebody else when we're all calm, but how do you do it when we're all revved up and go, oh my gosh, that was me just yelling at the top of my lungs. Okay, and then what Maureen talked about, we'll have a lesson on how to recover after the fact, and we'll do that in 2 weeks. So sayonara, thank you so much. This was so great. So happy to be able to do this. Okay.
Bye-bye. Thank you, Dee Dee.
All right, sure thing. Bye.
Thank you so much.
Okay. There we go. Louisa, if you want to stay
Yes.
for a second,
Yeah.
okay.
Any progress on your end?
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
You want to stop the recording first and then we'll talk?
Oh, yikes. Are we off?
Nope, we're back on. You were